All right, everybody, welcome back. We are going to dive into something pretty incredible today. A story really as old as time,
Yeah.
good versus evil, facing impossible odds, and then ultimately turning a day meant for darkness into one of celebration and joy.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Are we talking about Purim?
Yeah, we are talking about Purim. I'm excited to dig into this one. It's a story woven into the history of the Jewish people and celebrated to this day all over the world.
It's a really great story and such a good reminder that even when things look their bleakest, right, there's always a potential for a turnaround.
Absolutely. So let's set the stage here. We're in ancient Persia. Okay.
Okay.
And the key players here, King Ahasuerus, his advisor, Haman Mordecai, and of course the brave Queen Esther.
Yeah.
So we've got Haman, he's got this deep-seated hatred for Mordecai and the Jewish people.
Right.
I think what's so interesting about this is, this idea of just hatred wanting to just wipe out an entire group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like this isn't unique to this story.
You're totally right. Sadly, the targeting and scapegoating of entire groups of people is a recurring theme throughout history, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, understanding that context, I think, really adds a layer of depth and weight to the Purim story.
For sure. So Haman, driven by this hatred, tricks the king into issuing a decree to exterminate all the Jews in the kingdom.
Yeah.
It's like, talk about a terrifying situation.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Can you imagine the fear that must have gripped the Jewish community at that time? This wasn't just some kind of personal vendetta, right?
Yeah.
This was a systematic attempt at genocide.
Yeah. So this is where Mordecai and Esther step in.
Yeah,
They're not about to let this happen.
exactly. So Mordecai learns of the plot and he urges his niece, Queen Esther, to intervene. And this is where things get really interesting. Esther has to make a choice, and it's literally a life or death choice.
Wow.
Revealing her Jewish identity to the king could mean risking her own life, but it's the only way that she might be able to save her people.
It takes some serious courage to stand up to power like that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're risking everything. It makes you think, like, where did she find that strength?
That's such a good question. And honestly, it just really speaks to the human capacity for courage, especially when it comes to protecting others. Esther's bravery is like a pivotal moment in this story, I think. It really showcases the power of individual action, even when you're facing these overwhelming odds.
Yeah. And she succeeds. The king learns of Haman's treachery and totally turns on him.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a reversal of fortune. Haman ends up executed on the very gallows that he built for Mordecai.
Oh, wow.
It's like you almost want to cheer. Like, the bad guy gets what he deserves.
Yeah, it's definitely a satisfying twist for sure. But it's not just about revenge. The king also empowers the Jewish people to defend themselves.
Right.
Which leads to their ultimate victory over those who sought to harm them.
So out of this, darkness comes this incredible triumph. And, it's no wonder that Purim is celebrated with so much joy.
Right.
It's a reminder that light can emerge even from the darkest moments.
Exactly. The Purim story really highlights that human resilience, that ability to bounce back from adversity. Think about it. We all face challenges in life.
Oh, yeah.
But this story reminds us that within those challenges, there's potential for growth, for turning those struggles into opportunities to, build strength.
Yeah, it's that never give up spirit that I think is so inspiring about the story. Now, our source takes this idea of, finding strength and looks at it through a specific lens,
Okay.
talking about finding rest in Christ as a source of comfort and resilience during tough times.
Yeah, that's an interesting interpretation. I think for those who connect with that faith perspective, it adds another layer of meaning to the story.
For sure.
Think about Mordecai refusing to bow down to Haman,
Right.
or Esther bravely facing the king. They held on to something bigger than themselves, something that gave them strength in the face of danger.
I see what you mean. It's like they found their own kind of rest, that inner peace and steadfastness, even in the midst of all this chaos.
Right.
And that really resonates with that idea of faith providing comfort and strength when things are tough.
Absolutely. It's a powerful message of hope and resilience.
So we've gone from, Haman's plot to exterminate the Jews to this incredible courage of Esther and Mordecai, and finally to this joyous celebration of victory and resilience. This story, even though it's thousands of years old, it still speaks to us today. What do you think?
Absolutely. It reminds us that even when we're facing these seemingly impossible challenges, hope and courage can prevail. It's a story that encourages us to tap into our own inner strength and never lose sight of that possibility of turning even the most evil days into good ones.
I love that. So as you go about your day, think about the times that you faced your own Hamans, right?
Yeah.
Your own seemingly impossible challenges. How did you find that strength to overcome them? Did you rely on, your own inner resources
Yeah.
or your faith, maybe the support of others? What allowed you to turn those difficult moments into opportunities for growth and change?
It's definitely something to ponder. Because ultimately the Purim story reminds us that even in the face of darkness, there's always the potential for light, for hope, and for the triumph of good over evil.
Such a good point. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the Purim story. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, this was a good one.
And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.